It was a sudden incident. My best friend, Ikuo Takasaka, and his wife, Kyoko, died in a traffic accident. I rushed to the hospital with their daughter, Sana. There were their cold bodies. No way! It's a lie, right?
Wow, Namiki, you're so good at drawing.
I, Ryo Namiki, met Ikuo in junior high school. I was drawing manga in the classroom after school when Ikuo called out to me.
And your story is so interesting. You have talent.
Thank you, Takasaka. We became friends like that. We hit it off right away, and it didn't take long for us to start calling each other by our first names.
Oh, I want to read Namiki's manga too.
When I became friends with Ikuo, I also became close with his girlfriend, Kyoko.
Namiki, Ikuo, and I are really grateful that we've become friends with you. It's only natural to want to be friends with people you get along with. It's the people who look at us strangely who are weird.
Ikuo and Kyoko were both without a single relative, and they grew up in the same orphanage. They seem to have had a hard time because some people were prejudiced against them for being raised in an orphanage.
That's what we're grateful for. It's not like we're trying to repay you or anything, but if anything happens, don't hesitate to ask for our help. It's only natural for me and Kyoko to help our friends.
That's right. We'd be happy if you think of it as a small thank you for always letting us read your interesting manga.
Thanks, guys. Even after graduating from junior high school, the three of us remained close friends until we were 32. I was aiming to become a manga artist while working as a full-time employee, and Ikuo and Kyoko continued to nurture their love while working at the same company and eventually got married. They had a daughter, Sana, 5 years ago, and we continue to interact as families.
I believe that Ryo will become an amazing manga artist someday, and I'll always be rooting for you.
That's right. I'll definitely buy your manga when it gets published.
Sana, you think Uncle Ryo can become a best-selling manga artist too, right?
Yeah, Uncle Ryo's drawings are so much fun.
I see. Thank you, Sana. It was just a few weeks ago that we laughed like that. I never thought that such a small happiness would crumble so easily.
Mom? Dad? What's wrong?
That day, Ikuo and Kyoko had to go out for work, and I was temporarily taking care of Sana. They had the accident on their way home.
Please, wake up!
At Sana's painful cry, I couldn't help but pull her into my arms. For a while, Sana cried and screamed, and all I could do was absorb her pain. As I clenched my teeth, feeling powerless, Sana finally muttered something.
Dad! Mom! Let's go home.
At her words, I tightened my embrace. Neither Ikuo nor Kyoko had any relatives, and Sana no longer had any parents or even relatives. Sana, it's okay. I'm here for you. Please, let me take care of Sana. Until a guardian or custodian was decided, Sana was to be temporarily placed in protective custody at the Child Consultation Center. I decided to go back to my parents' house and explain the situation to them. I was living alone, but I bowed my head and asked if I could move back in with my parents along with Sana after giving up my apartment.
Ikuo and Kyoko, they were the children who were always good to you, weren't they, Ryo? When you told them you wanted to be a manga artist, other kids distanced themselves, but they always supported you, didn't they?
Strictly speaking, the reason my friends disappeared was different, but it was true that Ikuo and Kyoko had been by my side. In a life often filled with loneliness, Ikuo, Kyoko, and Sana's presence had been a great comfort to me.
She's the only daughter of our son's benefactor. We'll do our best to cooperate.
Thank you, Dad, Mom. I'll make sure to pay for both me and Sana. After that, the family court recognized that the living environment and financial situation were appropriate for Sana. Sana and I were able to successfully complete the adoption process. A few months later, I was picking up Sana from the nursery school she had transferred to after work.
Uncle Ryo.
Good evening, Mr. Namiki.
She is Miss Mio Shinozaki, Sana's class teacher.
Sana-chan seems to be getting used to nursery school little by little, and recently she's been enjoying drawing and origami with her friends.
I see, that's a relief. As Miss Shinozaki and I were talking amicably,
Ryo Namiki? Could it be you, Ryo Namiki?
Rie. A woman got out of a luxury car parked in the parking lot and approached us. It was Rie, my ex-girlfriend from high school.
Long time no see. You look kind of shabby, but you're not still aiming to be a manga artist, are you?
Rie laughed scornfully in her flashy attire. Rumor has it that she married a rich company president named Sonoda, but it's as if she's trying to say that she was right to break up with me. Well, I can't deny that I'm poor. Currently, I have a job that allows me to adjust my working hours and have flexible hours to secure time for drawing manga. Therefore, even though I'm a full-time employee, my income is on the lower side, and it's a bit of a precarious financial situation for me and Sana to live together. Even so, I still can't forgive what Rie said when we broke up.
Huh? You mean you're giving up on getting promoted at work to pursue your dream? That's impossible. Let's break up.
In high school, Rie dumped me the moment I told her I wanted to become a manga artist after graduating. If that was all, I could have accepted it because I understand it's natural to feel uneasy about what might seem like a half-hearted way of life. But...
See, I knew it. Being close to orphans with no future will ruin your prospects too. You're like the Three Musketeers of Doom.
Hey, you can say whatever you want about me, but don't make fun of Ikuo and Kyoko. They're thinking seriously about their future, and don't you dare assume their lives are unhappy. Rie seemed to be offended by my attitude. After this, Rie started spreading false rumors about me.
Hey, did you hear? I heard Ryo Namiki stole Rie's belongings and sold them without permission.
I thought he was a sincere person, but I'm so disappointed.
Even though I denied it, no one believed me except Ikuo and Kyoko, and as a result, I lost all my friends except for the two of them.
By the way, you called him uncle. Is that child your relative? She looks so shabby. Oh, don't tell me you took in an orphan. Even if your best friend was an orphan, it's too much for a poor manga artist like you.
Miss Sonoda, please stop making unfounded slander. The children are watching.
Thank you, Miss Shinozaki. I don't want to be in the same space as this person, so we'll be going now. Let's go. I didn't want Rie to say anything more and hurt Sana. We quietly left the scene. Well, if I gave up on my dream of becoming a manga artist, a lot of things would be solved, wouldn't they? That Sunday, while sitting on a park bench with Sana, I was recalling Rie's words. Raising a child costs money, and I have to consider working overtime or having a second job to earn more. Becoming a manga artist was also Ikuo and Kyoko's dream, but it can't be helped if I don't have the talent.
Oh? Sana-chan and Mr. Namiki?
Oh, Miss Shinozaki, hello. It's a coincidence to see you on your day off.
Yes, it is. Are you alright, Mr. Namiki? You seem a bit down.
Haha, I was just lost in thoughts. Perhaps because she's a nursery school teacher. I felt strangely comfortable confiding in her, and before I knew it, I was pouring out my troubles. I can't keep relying on my parents forever, and I thought I should give up my dreams so that Sana and I can become independent soon.
I see. As Sana-chan's guardian, I also think that might be the best course of action. However...
Miss Shinozaki stammered, as if she was about to say something more. A subtle silence filled the air, and then...
Uncle Ryo, do you have a boo-boo? You look like you're going to cry.
Sana peered at me intently, and I forced a smile, trying to look as normal as possible. Then, a smile spread across Sana's face.
When Uncle Ryo is in trouble, Sana will be your helper.
Even though the situation and everything is different, I feel like I've traveled back in time to that day in junior high school. Oh, Sana really is just like them.
I feel like if you give up on your dream when you're not satisfied, it will haunt you later. On the other hand, I can't offer you financial assistance, so it might sound like I'm being insensitive. Personally, I don't want you to give up on your dream.
She probably understands that it's not always kind to just encourage someone to follow their dreams without considering the reality. Even so, I could feel that Miss Shinozaki wanted to cheer me up. Her kindness warmed my heart. Sana, Miss Shinozaki, thank you. Actually, there's one story I really want to draw, and it's almost finished. I was wondering if I should just put it away in the back of my room without submitting it anywhere, but thanks to you two, I've made up my mind. I'll finish this manga and submit it to the upcoming Love Koi manga contest. If it doesn't work out, I'll give up on being a manga artist. But I won't make any compromises. I'll put all my effort into it so I won't have any regrets.
Mr. Namiki, please let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
Sana will help too.
Haha, it's really helpful to have two such reliable assistants. With their encouragement, I decided to take on my last chance to become a manga artist. For the next month, with the help of my parents and Miss Shinozaki, I devoted myself to brushing up my manga. Sana, I'm sorry I haven't been able to spend much time with you lately.
No, it's fun to be with Grandpa and Grandma.
You played house with the three of us yesterday, didn't you?
Mom, Dad, thank you so much for everything.
Oh, Mr. Namiki.
A few days later, I had successfully submitted my work to the Love Koi manga contest, and I came to pick up Sana after work. Miss Shinozaki, who usually greets us with a smile, seemed to have a strained expression today. Good evening, Miss Shinozaki. Is something wrong?
Well, that is... it's very difficult to say, but...
Then, Miss Shinozaki hesitantly told me about a certain SNS post. When I checked it on my smartphone, I saw numerous slanderous posts about me and Sana. What is this? Also, this icon and the content of these posts. Could it be?
I was also informed about it by a parent, but most of the parents don't believe the content. However, one of the parents seemed to have taken it at face value.
Oh my, could that be me?
Rie interrupted our conversation. She seemed to have come to pick up her child as well.
Ryo and I have known each other for quite some time, so I know what kind of person he is. I think the content of that social media post is highly credible. Besides, there's no smoke without fire, right?
Rie smirked at me with a nasty grin.
According to the social media post, you're treating that Sana child very poorly after taking her in, right? It seems you're using all your income for drawing manga, so you're not feeding her decent food, right? Well, that child seems to be the type who forcibly takes other children's belongings. I guess having an orphan as a best friend makes you think on a low level, and you can't even raise a child properly, huh? Wouldn't it be better for the child if you just left her at the child consultation center?
Stop it! And don't spread such nonsense around without any evidence. Sana-chan is caring towards her friends and has never caused any trouble with other children. Besides, you can tell just by looking at Sana-chan. She's being raised with love.
Isn't that just because you have a poor eye for judgment, Miss Shinozaki? Oh dear. I wonder if my son will be negatively influenced by being entrusted to a nursery school with a teacher like you.
If your son is negatively influenced, it's probably because of you. Rie flinched at my words, but then she froze when she saw my face. It's only natural. I'm currently distorting my face with anger because she's making fun of Sana and Miss Shinozaki. First of all, as a premise, Sana and I were examined by the family court when we went through the adoption process. If my financial situation was as you say, I wouldn't have been able to live with Sana. Furthermore, what you're doing is defamation. I'll sue you for damages, so be prepared.
What? Wait a minute. That's right. I was just kidding.
Whether it's a joke or not, it doesn't change the fact that our honor has been damaged. Also, I'm going to request disclosure of information about the owner of this SNS account and sue them too.
What?
What are you surprised about? If this account doesn't belong to you, then it's none of your business, right? Oh, that reminds me. The icon picture on this SNS is the same as your luxury car. Also, among the slanders and marks against me, there are baseless lies that were rumored in high school. Moreover, if it's someone who knows about my and Sana's recent situation, the number of possible account owners is limited. My precious daughter has been hurt. I'm going to fight you and the owner of this account to the bitter end, so don't think you can escape.
You!
Huh?
This beggar! He's saying that because he's poor and needs money? I said it was a joke, so it's a joke. It's because you have no sense of humor that you were isolated in high school and can't draw interesting manga. Don't try to shift the blame for being poor and freeload off the rich.
It's Rie who's trying to escape her own responsibility, and it's not my fault that she was isolated in high school. As I was about to retort, feeling exasperated. Well, I came here because you were late coming home, and what's going on here?
Honey!
Rie's husband, Mr. Sonoda, appeared, and Ria's momentum waned. He seemed to have come to the nursery school because he was worried about his wife and child. After hearing the situation, Mr. Sonoda hurriedly apologized while making Ria bow her head. We were told that we would discuss the defamation issue later through lawyers, and we dispersed for the day. Later, after requesting disclosure of information and conducting a detailed investigation, it was officially confirmed that the SNS account and the posts were Rie's. I filed a lawsuit against Rie for damages, and then...
Did you hear? That woman was slandering her classmates and their children on social media.
Honestly, I feel sorry for Mr. Sonoda and their child with a wife and mother like that.
The rumors spread throughout the neighborhood, and Rie became a recluse. Furthermore, my company provides family-oriented services. It's unacceptable for the president's wife to be slandering other families. I'm divorcing you. I'll take custody of our son. It's not good for him to be with you.
No, please.
Rie divorced Mr. Sonoda. It was said that she was obligated to pay child support for her son every month. Also, Rie reluctantly started working, but she continued to change her attitude based on the other person's status. In the end, she repeated job changes due to poor relationships with her colleagues and eventually struggled to find a new job. 5 years later, I was out with Sana and Miss Shinozaki.
It's amazing that Uncle Ryo has become such a famous manga artist that he's being interviewed in magazines.
Yes, I won the grand prize in the Love Koi manga contest and made my debut as a manga artist. I'm now a full-time manga artist with a popular series under the pen name Misaki Takagi. By the way, the work I submitted to the contest was a fantasy story about 5 characters who travel without forgetting compassion and gratitude. The models for the characters are me, Sana, Ikuo, Kyoko, and Miss Shinozaki. By the way, some of my former classmates from high school who had distanced themselves from me suddenly came crawling back asking for my autograph as soon as I became famous. Of course, I refused, and those who had boasted about getting my autograph were labeled as liars and are now having a hard time.
Ryo? You're Ryo Namiki, right?
As the 3 of us were walking side by side, Rie suddenly appeared in front of us. She looked much more haggard than when we met at the nursery school, as if she had been through a lot.
I saw you in the magazine. You're being called a late-blooming genius manga artist, and it seems you married that woman too.
Mio, who is Miss Shinozaki, and I gradually became closer, and we started dating soon after Sana graduated from nursery school. And we got married last year. I had talked about our relationship in a magazine interview.
And don't be ridiculous. While I can't find a decent job, you guys are happy? You're making money, right? Give me back the compensation for damages that I paid you in a lump sum 5 years ago.
You're the one who's being ridiculous, Rie. We didn't sue you for money. We just wanted you to take responsibility for hurting our dignity.
Shut up! You're always acting so self-righteous. It's been like that since high school. Even when I told you to cut ties with those 2 best friends, you always ignored me. You kept saying that they had good qualities too. Helping those people would only lead to them asking for money in the future. Or what? In the end, are you saying that people who are nice to everyone are the ones who become happy?
Shut up! If you're unhappy, it's probably because you've lived your life without discerning the true nature of people. Birth, occupation, wealth, those are just some of the elements that make up a person. But you only looked at those things, so if you're unhappy now, it's your own fault. My anger flared up as she insulted the couple who were my best friends and whom I still cherish. As if to calm me down, Mio and Sana slipped between me and Rie.
Ryo-san is not nice to everyone. He's just loyal. That's why someone always reaches out to him, even when his life is full of hardships. Unlike you right now.
I'm classmates with your son. He's very kind and considerate to everyone, so he's popular with the girls. That's good. He didn't take after you.
Sana has grown to be much more resilient than I thought, and I realized how reliable my wife and daughter are. We left Rie, who seemed to have nothing more to say, and went on our way. Later, Rie, tired of her hand-to-mouth existence, jumped at the chance to make easy money. But of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch, and her financial situation became even worse.
None of you are any help at all.
Even at this point, she still seems to want to be helped unilaterally, but the only people who approach her are those with ulterior motives. She's lived for over 30 years with a similar mindset. It might be too late for her. Going back in time, after we parted ways with Rie that day, the three of us visited Ikuo and Kyoko's grave. I wanted to report that I was featured in a magazine and offer a new volume of my manga as an offering. I was able to achieve my dream thanks to the support of those around me, but I was able to keep pursuing my dream because you two were always there to support me. Thank you so much.
Hey, Uncle Ryo, Mio-chan. I think my mom and dad are still the two in heaven. But you two are my family, just as important as my mom and dad.
Thank you. I wonder who Sana takes after to have grown up to be such a good girl. Is it Ikuo and Kyoko after all?
I think Ryo-san's influence is also significant.
The shape of happiness varies from person to person, but I believe it's important not to forget to be considerate of others. Moreover, it's wrong to look down on others based on your own standards. Our family will continue to build our own happiness, nurturing the bonds that have been formed through twists and turns.